Hello, in this video I'll be reviewing the 8th book in the Ranger's Apprentice series, Kings of Clonmel. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. There will be many spoilers ahead. This book is very good, and I think it is it's not my favourite Ranger's Apprentice book. Not by actually quite a long way, but I can't actually put a tangible reason onto why, because all the stuff that makes Ranger's Apprentice good is here, that we've touched on in previous reviews. Our cool and fun characters, lighter hearted tone, easy to follow, obvious storylines, watching our characters bounce off each other, banter, comedy, it's all there. And so this is a good book, and it's good Ranger's Apprentice, but I didn't quite have the desire that I normally do with these books to really keep going. But that said, I still had a great time. So yeah, let's jump into it a little bit. So this book follows there's a kind of a band of, they call themselves the Outsiders, a band of outsiders who are religious cultists essentially, and their shtick is that they go to a place, they be like, oh yeah, we can help you if you have any problems, but then they create the problems by making bandits show up who literally are them. And then they defeat the bandits, and then they take everyone's money, as thanks, sort of thing. And they also use this to gain influence, and they want to use it to depose the king of a nearby kingdom. And so obviously the Rangers want to stop them from doing that, because they're worried it will spill over into their kingdom. So, on first glance, this is quite an effective, and not just on first glance, just overall, this is quite an effective and obvious, it's an interesting plot, which is slightly different to just the normal, bad guy kill people. It's slightly more nuanced, and obviously takes a slightly different approach than you would, maybe normally take, where you just shoot the bad guy. So it actually is a strong plot, which I found to be absolutely functional and interesting. So we have a solid plot. We have a good antagonist who I thought functioned really well. He was sort of obviously bad, but not so mustache-twirlingly evil that that you're just why wouldn't everybody know this guy's bad, sort of thing. And he was competent and interesting and competent and confident at the same time. And I thought he made a cool antagonist. That's Tennyson, the antagonist of this book. And so I thought that functioned quite well. And then of course we've just got our normal great relationship stuff with Will and Holt and Horace, which is just really fun to have just as part of our story. And I quite enjoyed the start of this book as well, where we get a little bit of fun Ranger politics, where Will's at the gathering and he's wanting to get assigned to different feasts but doesn't really know what he wants and stuff. I thought that was quite interesting, because it sort of gives us a bit of extra just a little bit of extra world building into the Ranger Corps, which I think is cool, because that's what this book is really about, right? So I think that all the series is really about, so I think it's always nice to learn a bit more in that way, and also gives us a little bit of insight into Will's personality, because it shows us that he's got some ambition, he wants to go places, but he's not a massive dick about it, and he understands how things work and stuff. So I thought that was really cool at the start. One criticism I would have is that this book, it's a little bit different to previous times, because a couple of times previously in Ranger's Apprentice there's been books which it's obviously been split into two, but it really should be one. So obviously one of the examples of that is the Icebound Land, the Battle for Scandia, basically one book, and then of course the Sorcerer in the North and the Siege of Mackendor, basically one book. This one kind of falls into that a little bit, where the book ends and we haven't caught our villain, and we're still in a foreign country. So you could argue that that it hasn't actually been finished yet because we haven't caught our villain. But by the same token, the plot of this book is kind of interesting, because it's about bringing down a specific person, a specific villain, Tennyson, but it's also about bringing down a movement as a whole and saving Clonmel from this movement, which has actually been completed by the end of the book. So you could quite reasonably argue that it actually is a fine place to end the book and just pick it up in a sequel, which is what it does. I know that Holt's Peril follows them tracking down this last guy and escaping and stuff. So I don't specifically have a problem with that, but it's just something to note. It's that when you get to the end of this book, you won't quite have a conclusion that perhaps you were hoping for, because you're hoping to see the villain killed. I think sort of in terms of specific strengths of this book, like I said, I enjoyed that starting, but I really enjoyed basically the whole dueling sequence at the end, where Horace has to duel the two giant dudes that Tennyson's henchmen. I thought that was really cool and really well done. And yeah, I thought it made just a fun action scene to end on. Not ridiculously over top or anything, but cool and interesting. And it's always fun to see Horace be competent and beat people up, because I don't know, that's just fun for me. So that was cool, and it was fun to get a bit more backstory into Holt as well, because we're obviously going back to Holt's sort of home, so to speak. And it was pretty interesting to see, his relationship with his brother, and obviously the reveal that he's royal, which is of course being teased at in earlier books, where we see him, claim to be a king of in the royal line of Clonmel in the third book, The Icebound Land. So it was fun to have that reference again. It was also fun because a lot of the stuff that happened in those earlier books is getting referenced there. For example, in in the Icebound Land, when Horace was like a younger teenager, you know, he saw some prostitutes on the street and he was like, why are we wearing short dresses? And Holt was like, oh, because they have to run fast. And then, you know, that was getting referenced again in this book where Horace has obviously realised what they actually are. So I thought that was cool. And I will have to say that just in this book, just like in all the rest of the books, the banter is honestly really on point. I really like the sort of fun, banterous vibes that all the characters have, like Will, Horace, and Holt especially have with each other. And so I just had a great time with that. So yeah, this is a good book, but like I said at the start, it's sort of missing something. I don't know exactly what, but so it's not my favourite Rangers Apprentice book, but it's still a good book, and it's a good Rangers Apprentice book, so I definitely recommend picking it up, particularly if you're enjoying the series. So yeah, thanks for watching, and have a good day.